the network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
Ready.
AV Week.
Performing scan.
Week.
Online.
This is AV Week. AV Week.
This is AV Week, your weekly wrap-up of audiovisual news and information. My name is Tim Albright. Good afternoon. Welcome. I am your host. With us this week, first and foremost, what the heck? Well, I'm going to start with one of my underwriters because he's a nice guy and he gives me money. His name is John Green. That's not why, and I'll explain in a second. From Advanced AV, how are you, sir?
Wonderful day. Wonderful spring day finally in Philadelphia.
Very nice. I actually got to go to Philly for the first time a couple weeks ago. It was very nice. So.
Yes.
Also with us, he doesn't give me money, but he gives me time, which is just as equally important. His name is Harry Mead. He's part of my booth team. How are you, sir?
Worrying about your booth for 3 weeks from now.
2.5 weeks from now, sir. Correct, Joseph.
I'm trying to repress that.
I know. Harry's from Net AV. Last but not least, Adrian Boyd from AVI Systems. How are you, sir?
I am doing very, very well. I'm very well, yes.
Excellent.
And I'm also excited I'm going to InfoComm.
Yay, InfoComm!
Yay.
Yes. And here's something to let all the AV tweeps know. There's going to be a Get Along t-shirt. So if you have someone you need to get along with, we'll have a shirt for you to wear.
Take that away from me. There's only one person that doesn't like, well, there's a dozen people, but yeah. I don't think
the ultimate goal is to get Crestron and AMX in the same shirt.
Good luck with that. You do like Randy Klein and Sean Robinson in the same shirt.
Could you imagine?
We should do that and do like charity or something for that.
It'd be a lot of money. I'm just going to put that out there right now. I mentioned real quickly, and I don't spend a whole lot of time. I probably don't spend as much time on this. My accountants tell me I don't. We're underwriting. We have underwriters. We don't have sponsors, advertisers, or what. But John is one of them. If you want more information about that, you can go to avnation.tv /underwriting. Harry mentioned InfoComm. Holy crap! Week and a half away. 2.5 weeks away.
Sure.
2.5 weeks away.
Don't do that to me, man.
I'm an old guy, man.
We have, so in 3 weeks from right now, we'll be recording AV Week in Vegas. Actually, technically a week, an hour, 3 weeks in an hour, because we're going to do it 2 o'clock local time. If you want to come on by the booth, and it's in Nancy 2821, I believe is our booth number. From 2 to 4, we will be doing this very show live from our broadcast booth. And I did say broadcast booth because Harry and Matt Scott and the folks at Prime View and a bunch of other VizRT is involved as well. Bunch of really cool stuff going on. So we've got a couple of pages up. If you're interested in what we're doing, you can go by the website avnation.tv and check that out.
If we live through Monday through Wednesday of InfoComm week, it's going to be an awesome booth.
Sunday, you forget, we're starting on Sunday, Harry.
Yeah, I know we're starting on Sunday. I was giving you the
brunch and then work
out before Monday.
So, all right, let's get this bad boy off, shall we? So, interesting thing, and I'm not going to say I wasn't going to do this story, but I didn't know how to do this story. Right? It's interesting. I typically don't do press releases in general. Mainly because I let other people, smarter people than me, dissect and kind of chew on the press releases and give a couple of pieces of perspective. Here's one, though, that I'm interested in, and I want to get you guys' take. All three of you are integrators, right? So let's start there. I don't have any manufacturers on. It's kind of why I felt comfortable doing this story this week. If you're not watching the video, here's what the story is. Harman appoints Mohit Parashar, President of Professional Solutions Division. Okay, cool. Congratulations to Mohit. He has a new position. Except he's taken over from a guy by the name of Blake Augsburger. Blake's been with Harman for like 15, 16 years. In addition to that, Blake was a part. Harman just went through a big restructuring thing. I could be wrong about this, but I don't believe anybody was overtly fired out of that. It was just restructured. Different people got new positions, and friends of ours. Full disclosure: one of our board members is an employee of Harman. A lot of great people work at Harman. Some good friends in the industry. You've got AMX in there now. You've got SVSI, which is under AMX now. You've got a lot of good products there. And they went through this whole restructuring thing, and it started about last August, I believe, and took about 60, 90 days to complete. And at the end of that, you've got this structure. Harman's a publicly traded company. You've got all these stuff going on. 6 months after that ends, you have a change in leadership. Something that could have possibly been done 6 months ago, because Mohit was a part of Harman to begin with. He was in their consumer division. He comes out of the Asia Pacific division and involved in like product flow and getting stuff to market, not necessarily in the engineering side and the cool whiz bang brand new stuff. But he's very much involved in getting product to market. John, I'm going to start with you. What is this? Sorry. What does this mean for Harman? I mean, is this a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Does it demonstrate the ability to change course and make corrections, or what does this mean? Or is it just, what, Blake was ready to go home? Blake was ready to retire.
Well, everybody likes to read stories and look at who shot who and who's in the bushes with a gun and all that other fun stuff. I think we overthink it to a large degree. I mean, a lot of I've talked to the other parties involved in like the Mitel and Polycom thing, and everybody says, "Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be the same." And then things change, and there's other acquisitions and people move out. The chief, milestone buying, and there's just moves that naturally occur. I can't imagine this one's a little bit well thought out because it's been a while. It's, as you had mentioned, it's been a little while in developing. Blake could have said, "Yep, I don't see where we're going. I got enough money. I'm going to go home." That type of a situation. My bigger concern on this is these are really, really, really smart people that have been really, really, really successful inside of this organization, as you had mentioned, in the consumer marketplace. And then they look at us and go, boy, these boys overthink it an awful lot. They're really overcomplicating this too much. We're just going to do this, and we'll see what happens afterwards. And I just put people in place that have life experience. That's, we're always protective of our little clan. We're protective of the way we go about it. That is changing, flat out.
All right, Harry, from your standpoint, I mean, this is obviously probably not going to change the products that you deal with on a daily basis. But looking at it as Harman as a company as a whole, and the Pro Division specifically, because that's what we cover on this show, what does this mean?
It's a consumer world.
Yep.
But we're not. Okay, hang on. It's a consumer world, but we're not.
Oh, you'd like to think we're not.
Okay, show me a crown.
Okay.
Never mind. I was going to say, show me a crown amp and a home, but you can do that.
This goes back to a blog post that I wrote either earlier this year or late last year about the fact that there are no middle jobs anymore. It seems. Mm-hmm. The middle has been sucked out of the market of just the just going with the being able to have a nice pro system but not a crazy whiz bang system. You either have, and this has been my experience, and this is what I'm banging my head against the wall right now with, either have the super mega job, video walls and all kinds of happy crap and all bells, whistles, dancing girls, everything. Or you have, and this is no knock on the names I'm about to say, or you have a Logitech camera connected to a Mac Mini sitting behind a monitor and it's talking on WebEx or something like that. And, and the middle ground has just fallen out from underneath us. And if you're sitting there playing in this market, you've got to either be able to run with the big boys and get some of these decent sized systems, or you're going to be stuck doing these little guys all day long, every day, wanting to stab your eyes out.
Yeah, and the other thing is, and I agree with you, Harry. The technology has met it though. That's what's been the cause.
Absolutely.
It's a direct line, and I'm going to make a stupid thing because it'd be associated to Harman. Man, the audio in my car is rock and roll, city hall. It is great. I go to my boardroom and it's like, oh, that hurts.
Well, that's also the difference in what people want, though, isn't it? If I was a CEO, I would want rock and roll, yes. But
yeah, but if you're gonna get in your car, there is this quiet expectation that you're gonna turn your radio on and you're gonna set the user interface once, and it's gonna be, oh wait, you can memorize it so that when your daughter goes in and she switches the radio station and goes to the highs, it's ready to go. We don't do that, and again, I'll go back to my stipulation about it from the very beginning. These people at Harman that have been providing the solution in just a little bit of a different environment look at us and going, why are you overthinking this? Because the technology is here. Yeah. That's the concern that I have. I really do. Where do we add the value?
I was going to say, real quick, along that same point, it doesn't take us to do a Logitech camera with a Mac Mini and a monitor. IT can do that. The IT guys can do that without us being there.
Again, another symptom of just because, again, an IT department that can do it. What's worse is an end user can do it. Okay?
Exactly.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What's more troubling is when you get it's the scalability of cost, right? Yes. It's when you have end users that their education level is based on what they see at the big box stores, right? So they're hammering us on prices, but they have the unrealistic budget. And I struggle with this all day long working with sales team members is, they want all the bells and whistles, but at the same time, their budget only stipulates the Logitech camera and the Mac Mini. And trying to set that expectation is becoming a real frustration. Finding that middle ground technology that it's not the whiz-bang system, it's not the low-end system, but it's just right, is becoming harder and harder to do with technology. But, if we pivot this back to Harman and we look at, Mohit's background,
it's all consumer.
It's all consumer, but it's the Asian market. So what is Harman? What are they seeing? Because Harman's got a lot of real smart people, and they're forecasting things like most of these companies do longer than 6 months. So what are they seeing on the horizon in their forecasting in the Asian market versus North American market, and then what's going through? And when you start looking at the acquisitions Harman has made in the last, I would say, 4 years. You see all these pieces put together. I would not be surprised in maybe the next year or two that Harman starts putting out these completely self-contained package systems that, everything's done. Here's your boardroom. It's got the switch, it's got the audio, it's got the amplifier, it's got the programming, and it's all done, ready to go. And what is somebody doing? They're slapping a display on the wall and plugging it in.
That's again, if I were to answer your question, what are they seeing in Asia? They're looking at wireless and mobility. What you just described was an iPhone. Okay, I can have my audio, I can have my meeting, I can have my communications, I can get my work done. Oh no. So we got to make it bigger. We got to make it a little bit more flexible. We got to make it a little bit more friendly to the generation that's leaving that space. Well, but Asia is, they're millennials. Their technology is millennial. It's not. That's what they drive towards. I don't think that China has had an opportunity to go and build old, rusty systems. They're doing it. You know what I mean? They're doing it mobile-wise.
Well, and there's two things here with that, and I agree with actually a combination of both of you guys where
you got to pick him or me.
it's a combination. Here's what
that shirt's going to come into play real quick.
Infocom, a year ago, said by 2016 the U.S. would no longer be the #1 AV market in the world. A year ago they said this, right? So to Adrian's point, I'm not overly surprised that someone who's come out of that market is now leading the pro division. I am a little surprised about the consumer part, right? But you guys have made some really good points about that. John, to your point, they are just all these plug-and-play systems where the reason that Infocom is saying that the Asia Pacific and India and China specifically in the Asia Pacific market is coming online as the number one AV market is their IT infrastructure and this growing middle class.
Yes.
But it's that IT part, right?
Yeah, it's and you spoke to it much better than I did, but that is exactly the reason. I mean, they're not building telephone systems, you know what I mean? No. They're building nodes and networks to get it done.
All right.
Well, I mean, look at everybody's all high on IoT and BYOD and all these other alphabet soups. They all spell us with no J-O-B.
Yes, I can sense that too, and I can feel that, but I disagree. I still think that there's a real valuable add that we bring. And we've had this conversation numerous times over numerous podcasts where our end users are going to Google and have a lot of the information. They're still looking for a trusted advisor.
Yes.
They're getting to 90%, they're getting to 95%, and they need the comfort and they need somebody to walk the journey with them still. And I think that's a valuable asset, and I still think it's available to us.
I can personally say we have customers that are both ways. We have customers that use us as a valuable asset to help them plan, and we have customers that bring us a Google price list.
Right. Well, and that's our decision as to who to go with. We recently had a customer that brought us in because they were unhappy with the vendor. We had a full-blown, I brought a team of 6, talked about capabilities. They liked what we said. We offered a solution that we thought was the right thing for them, and then they went back to the vendor that they didn't like to get a second opinion. We called them up and said, congratulations, we're not working together. Because again, you know, our business model is that we're trying to be a partner with you. We're trying to offer something, and they had their opportunity. They missed, that type of thing. So I do think it's still viable. And here's the bigger part. I think that it goes deeper and wider than that. I'm not going to lose revenue. I'm not going to lose profitability. Both are going to go up.
Yeah. And here's the other thing is telling a client, you know what, this situation, this opportunity is not right for me. We wish you luck. And give us a call on your next one. You know, that one might be. So.
Yep.
All right, real quickly. You guys can tell me I'm silly for asking this question. This is from Innovate on the Net. Apparently, Microsoft has gotten a patent, U.S. patent, for something called, for something called a telepresence experience. They originally filed it in October 2014, but now Microsoft owns the patent for telepresence experience. Quote unquote, it incorporates a display device that presents an image which looks like to be coming from a point located behind the display when paired with another remote display. Each participant can see each other's environment through a glass-like material. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but that sounds like telepresence, like video conferencing. Am I missing something here?
Where's that spiked piece of wood I need right now?
Well, and I know, and my question to you guys is, obviously they can do it, but can they do this?
Anybody with a room full of lawyers can do anything at any time for any reason.
It's not what I wanted, John.
Sorry.
What's funny with their how they've kind of I think they're looking more of an augmented reality type environment, because if you click the link in that article, it takes you to the next one. What is it? It's 2 people looking at each other, and one looks like he's being displayed from a Kinect camera.
Okay, but it's not. It's there's no VR. There's no glasses. It looks to me, yes, the link that looks a little bit like Kinect, but it's still VTC.
Yes.
No?
Yeah. It's Microsoft being Microsoft.
Okay.
We want to be the end-all, be-all, the ecosystem, everything, and because it's Microsoft, a lot of people kind of like to eat that soup that they sell.
It looks like a marketing argument, not a technology argument.
And that's the problem, though, because they've made a technology argument by getting a patent.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Yes.
my issue with it.
It seems like it's
But that gets into just how our U.S. Patent Office is just.
That's
so,
a whole nother. That's a
Exactly.
5-hour conversation.
Right.
Yes.
And we
I
won't
got to
get-
go home
Harry, go
soon.
Yeah. Harry, go ahead and say what you're going to say.
It seems like it's patenting the horse after it's already out of the barn.
Exactly.
Right.
But the problem is they let them do it.
I'm reading this sheet that came with it, and it's like it was written in like 2005.
Right.
Yes.
It's like, oh, you're gonna magically be able to see the through just a sheet of glass or just a monitor of the someone on the other side of and you'll just be able to interact. It's like, yeah, no crap, we've been doing that for 10, 15
You know what?
years.
Here's what I'm going to do. When I get off here, I'm going to call my lawyer, and I'm going to patent serving up amateur produced video that you serve on a remote server through a website.
Right. How cute is that? You're going to actually use the phone? I just sent him an email. I tweeted one lawyer. I sent another one an email.
Yeah, you tweeted one. You said
I got a hat that I'm actually transmitting via my brain. What do you call that?
I'm sure somebody will get on that one. All right, let's move on. All right, so let's talk about interfaces real quick. Yeah, I was a sound guy in a previous life. So Soundcraft has a new updated UI, and the reason I'm bringing this up is, it's not just a new UI for their boards; it's a UI for their tablet interface. Primarily, when people say tablets and they're talking about devices like that, most of the time it's Apple. I will acquiesce and say that yes, there are Android applications, but let's all be honest with ourselves. The vast majority of the market segment does use iPads for things of this nature. Adrian, we'll start with you on this. What really is the best use case scenario? I mean, are you going to run an entire concert from a tablet interface, or is this for sound checks and setting up stuff like that?
Most of the time, I've seen this as it's just an extra set to a board. I mean, most sound guys I've ever worked with, they like the feel of heavy knobs.
Yeah.
George Tucker. Come on.
Oh, Tucker's, yeah, weighted knobs, baby.
Yeah, weighted knobs. I mean, they like that look and feel. And a lot of times when you see the phone or the app, it's adding an additional set to that console that maybe they didn't really get to fit in. It's giving you little tweaks. It's giving you more real-time feedback. Especially if you're doing things like real, live recording, and you're, looking at stuff on the fly. So yeah, I think the real use case is it's not really running the entire board; it's supplementing the board.
I got something for that.
I got
Harry, go ahead.
Good, Harry, but hold on to your seats.
All right, John.
Go ahead.
Last year, around Infocom, we visited the theme parks in Orlando. And I have a picture, because it was cool, of in Harry Potter World. There was a guy, and he was just standing there, and he wasn't dressed. He didn't have like a uniform on, or he wasn't dressed. I mean, everybody's like mega in character there, but he was just standing there, and he was just standing there with a tablet, and he'd touch things every once in a while. And I looked at him, and I'm like, he's running the show. There was a live stage show going on, and he was running the entire lights and sound part for that entire live production that was going on from the tablet in his hand, from just standing out in the audience. So it gives you that.
Okay, so let me ask this real quick, and I'll let John do it. If he was in Harry Potter World, should he not have then been dressed up as Hagrid? I'm just going to ask.
I think he was just trying to. Honestly, if you didn't know what you were looking for, he would have just blended in with somebody else with a mobile device.
Okay.
And I actually went up to him right after the show, and I was like, I asked him what he was doing, and I told him what I did, and so we actually chatted for about 5 minutes, and yeah, he showed me that he had the entire interface sitting right there.
Sweet.
Did you get a selfie?
You should have got totally with the sound guy from Harry Potter World. All right, Mr. Green, go ahead.
I'll tell you, This is the one that scared me the most. This one, and I'm going to tell
Really?
you why. I'm going to an absolute. This one is a little disturbing, and I'm going to tie a couple of your stories together. So Harman, okay, has this gigantic organization, and one of it is a control company, and that control company and all the other electronic companies have gathered all this big data, and they've decided that every time somebody goes into a conference room, they do these following 25 things. Now, they build that UI and they push it to any device that has the ability to do it, and we don't have to do anything. So they've discovered how to run a sound show, what are the most common activities that are done by a sound guy, and they put it into the hands of a user interface and an application. If you don't think that other guys are thinking about that, because the biggest problem is that there really isn't a need for customization on the user interface, that you really are just going to do this.
Yeah.
Big data is going to provide that information, and it'll be pushed down, and version 2.0 or the additional thing is going to come back to you, just like the apps do now. Hey, this guy Bob yelling about it doesn't have this button. It's got the button now, and it's there. That's what
I got one more thing drilling deep into their press release a little bit. It's not necessarily, to me, the thing that jumped out was not necessarily the fact that they have a new UI. It was the fact that they're adding features after the fact to their boxes.
Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly
and the
right.
fact that because all it is just audio connections connected to a processor, there's no real physical connections other than that, they can add features at will up to the memory capability of the box.
Yes.
So
and if built right with feedback from end user usage, big data, they can refine it hardcore.
But what this does is it makes it so that boxes don't have to be bought as often, because you're not buying new features. That's a friggin' firmware upgrade.
Okay, so let me wrap this whole thing back around to a conversation we had 6 months ago with Harman and Crestron and Access Networks and Cedia and Infocom surrounding a certain security issue. We are, and I think I wrote this somewhere. I write too much. We are in IT. Let's get over it, right? Let's accept it. Get over it. Don't use the frickin' word converge. We are in IT. What you guys described is a computer.
Yes.
Right. You buy a laptop, and features are going to come out every so often. If you use a Microsoft product every week, every Tuesday, you're going to have some sort of update and security feature. And every once in a while, you're going to have gigantic updates. So let's treat them and let's start segmenting our updates of our AV systems. Let's have a Patch Tuesday for AV where we fix security problems, and we call it what it is. It is a security update fix. I don't care if let's get rid of the word firmware update, because there's two problems with that. First of all, it's not a firmware update. If you're fixing a software issue, you're fixing a security issue, that's not firmware, kids. It's software and it's security. Yes, to Harry's point, if you're adding features and benefits and all that jazz to a box, sure. Knock yourself out, call it firmware. I don't care. But if it's a security patch, call it what it is, because, first of all, the IT folks that have grown up in this industry and have been around for long enough understand that if it ain't broke, you don't up the firmware. You don't upgrade the firmware, or unless it's a feature you want, right? So that's the number one reason why you don't call a security patch firmware.
Control companies tell you not to upgrade the firmware if it's working.
Exactly. And the second reason is you're not going to get into most secure locations. You're not going to get into most education houses, let alone a secure location with a quote-unquote firmware update. You have a better chance of getting in there to fix a security problem by calling it what it is, a security patch. Harry works in reason in government, and he can tell you that for a fact.
And from what you just said, it's a computer. Look at most of the new boxes that we've had come out in the last little while. DSPs, signage players, you name it. What are they? they're a PC with a souped-up chunk of code.
Yep.
You insert whatever manufacturer you want. You start looking at the back
for
of it.
crying out loud.
QSC is a good example. The Core 10, and any of the QSys boxes, they're computers.
Yes. QSC is a computer. Buying up as a computer. They're all freaking computers now.
A lot of these BYOD bridge devices. What are they? They're running a modified Android OS.
Mm-hmm.
They're running some sort of modified Linux code.
Yep.
You find something off the shelf. You make it bulletproof. You hope,
Bullet-ish. There's
bullet-ish. Bullet-ish, yes. And you slap your logo on it, and there you go.
Yeah. Go ahead.
How many of the manufacturers in our industry, they're getting the box made at the same factory in China, and they're just putting a different silkscreen on it into the same darn box over and over and over.
Yeah, I think there's got to be an open conversation. I think that it'll probably be an open conversation at Infocom, I hope. And I think there's some technology that's going to cause that. Again, even Harry said IoT. You just, what it's going to cause and how it's going to impact us. We have to be adults, and I think that we have to be willing as an industry to take those challenges on. And it really does. It to a large degree, it starts at a manufacturer, and I just do think that if and when somebody really starts to poke around at us, they're going to find an unbelievably ugly underbelly, and that's my concern.
And to make a good point, Joe, but I will say, to their credit, there are a lot of folks that use the AMX story as a kind of a wake up call and are working towards that.
Oh yeah, not
overnight.
We're absolutely positively, no matter what, surrounded by very smart people, and I definitely think that there are people running ahead of us to take care of some of these things. I'm just hoping that the crowd doesn't catch up.
Yeah, I agree
with the AMX, I rember when that came out, and if you've ever done a Shodan search, plug in Crestron, plug in AMX, plug in Extron, plug in whatever manufacturer in our industry, you'd be quite surprised how many devices just start popping up.
Real quickly, say that search again.
Shodan.
Yes. If you're not familiar with Shodan, go to the website. You will be shocked.
Yep.
It's a way to search for open IP addresses.
I have a horror story that I can't even repeat here.
No,
I literally had to call somebody and go, my God, and they went, oh, and they hung up.
Yeah.
That's all I heard.
Yeah. There are horror stories of education institutions, government facilities with open access to VTCs and other devices out there. So,
and it's as simple as throwing a switch at a firewall.
Yep, absolutely.
It's regular, identifiable best practices from an IT organization, but AV guy going, oh, I forgot to close the door.
Yeah. All right. We're going to leave you on that positive note. Adrian Boyd, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
How do people find you and or AVI Systems?
Well, I'm in the AVI Systems St. Louis office. I think AVI's got close to 20 offices around the country.
Hey, go Blues, right?
Blues.
Go Blues.
Yes, the Blues are doing well. They're not my team, but they are doing good. You can find me on Twitter. I'm the AV CAD guy. There's underscores between that, and I'm otherwhere on the web.
All right, Mr. Harry Mead, thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me on.
How do we find you?
Well, if you're there the couple of days before the show floor opens, I'll be sweating on the floor of Infocom.
It'll be good for your weight loss program.
Yeah.
What I keep telling myself.
I'm with NetAV, but you'll find me occasionally posting blog posts on AVNation and on Twitter at AVGrump, which should tell you that I am not surprised by how this show went.
All right, Mr. Green, thank you, sir. How do people find you and Advanced AV?
That's exactly right. At advancedav.com, that's our website. You can always find me at jgreen6, jgreen6 on Twitter, always with my snark and my little bit of attitude. And I will be at Infocom, waiting for the AV tweet up. Which, how did you not talk about that?
I'm going to talk about it.
Okay.
So
that is the industry hug fest for me.
It's an interesting party, right? So to John's point, We do a networking event every year. This year it's Thursday of Infocom between 4 and 6. The room this year is room N as in Nancy 205. It's a bigger room than last year. Actually, it's double the size of last year. If you came to last year's Tweet Up, you'll know that it was a little bit tight. So, but same deal. Free food, free drinks. Thanks to all of our underwriters like Advanced AV and a bunch of other really cool folks. We've got that. We've got the AV selfie video that we're doing. We're going to debut it at our booth at 11 o'clock on Friday. Our booth is N as in Nancy 2821. I just got word this afternoon from Mr. Phil Cordell that the AV Selfie song is done. I haven't heard it yet. I do know the pieces that were going into it. But if you want all of our information about what we're doing at Infocom and everything that everybody's doing, go by the website, avnation.tv. Lots of great folks have put that together and done a really good job of that. Harry mentioned we're going to come in on Sunday. If you're running around the show floor beforehand, come by and see us. We'll be in the North Hall trying to put together some Lego pieces, which is our booth. So, but yeah, go by the website, avnation.tv, avnation.tv. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for watching. This has been AV Week.